Hi VC, it's Aaron, Mutha Alamer. Today I'm starting a 4-part video here of the top 100 records of the 1980s that aren't like hard rock and heavy metal. Well, what people consider hard rock now, which is what I consider heavy metal back then. From the 80s, and it's 100 records. I started out and I thought I was going to make it into 200, but I took the punk records out. I might do a punk one instead, just on punk records, because it was just a lot in there. But yeah, this is just all stuff I own. So there's a few records I would have put in here, but I don't own them, so that's why there might be some weird omissions. But I think this is a great list. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. It took me, I've been working on this for like 3 months. I've listened to over 200 records. So I went back and re-listened to all these, and it's surprising how it changed. Records I thought would be really high, some of them weren't as good as I remembered. Some of them that I thought weren't very good were a lot better than I remembered. And so this has been a long process here getting this. I've been trying to make it really good. And I think it got a really solid 100. Of course, once it gets down to the top 50, they're all ones that I know really well. I know all these records. I grew up in the 80s. So, I mean, I've listened to them all. And all these up here are some of the ones that didn't quite make it, but they were really close. Like I said, I had over 200 to 250 records in the running for this. So I got it down to 100, and here I'll start off with number 100, which is The Pretenders 2. Awesome second record from The Pretenders. The Adulteress is a great way to start this album, and Bad Boys Get Spank's a great song. Day After Day, Jealous Dogs. I really love this record. It just barely made it into my list though, but that's how strong this list is. Pretenders 2 is number 100. And number 99, I've got Lap of Luxury from Cheap Trick. Actually, one of my very favorite Cheap Trick records. I love this album. It starts out really strong with the song Let's Go. Of course, The Flame is on here, which I absolutely love. Don't Be Cruel, that really cool Elvis song they did. They did a great job on that. Ghost Town's one of my favorites on here. It's just an awesome record. Really a rockin' album there. At number 98, I've got New Traditionalist from Devo, and this is the only Devo album I really own. There might have been more on here, but this is a great album. Of course, it's got Jerkin' Back and Forth, which is a great song, and let's see what else is really good on here. I really love Without Anger. I love that song. This whole album is really good. They're just so unique, but the thing that really boosted this onto this is this album actually came with a 7-inch single of Working in the Coal Mine, which came in the record, and I love that song so much. But this is an awesome album, New Traditionalist from Devo at 98. 97, the debut from this supergroup, and I think it's their best album. This is the debut from Asia. Love this album. Of course, it's got Heat of the Moment on here, Only Time Will Tell, but the whole thing's really solid. It's just a great album. And I've always liked this album. Every time I hear the Heat of the Moment, it just brings me right back to the 80s. It's a great song. Pretty solid record there. At number 96, and this one here, I was going back and forth on whether to make it, but it did make it. This is Beauty and the Beat from the Go-Go's. Love this album. Of course, We Got the Beat. It's such a good song, and it reminds me of the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High so much. Our Lips Are Sealed, another big hit from here. It's a really solid album all the way through. Great musicianship from the 5 ladies here. Of course, Belinda Carlisle is a singer. Great album. At number 95, I've got American Fool from John Cougar. This is when he was known as John Cougar. His last album with that name. And it's had, of course, the first 3 songs on here were huge hits. Hurts So Good, Jack and Diane, and Hand to Hold On To. And those are awesome songs. But really cool songs that maybe you don't know as much. Or Can You Take It is good. Thundering Hearts is a really good rocker. Close Enough, China Girl. Really good album. It's a great album from him. Not my favorite, but there might be a couple more of his coming up, so I like him a lot. Okay, at number 94, and this album's a really hard rocker, and this is the kind of music I considered hard rock. And now hard rock is like the hair metal stuff, glam metal. People call hard rock now, but this is Foreigner 4, and this is an awesome record. Of course, it's got the huge songs Urgent and Jukebox Hero, which is all over the radio. Waiting for a Girl Like You, that great ballad, but it starts off with the song Nightlife, which is one of my favorites on here. And I think my favorite song on here is a deep cut from side 2 called Woman in Black. I love that song. Really good rocker. Check out that song if you don't know it. It's a great one. Really good album from Foreigner. At number 93, I've got the debut from Duran Duran. Love Duran Duran, and this album is really good. Starts off with Girls on Film. That's a great song. And then Planet Earth, another big hit. Is There Something I Should Know? One of my very favorite Duran songs. Probably my top 3 of them. I love that song. Second Side isn't quite as strong as the first, but it's really good too. Sound of Thunder is really good. Waiting for the Night. It's a really good album all the way through. This is a great debut. I'm a big Duran Duran fan, actually. I love them. Number 92, I've got Eddie Money with No Control. And this isn't quite as good as his debut, but it's really close. It's got the song Shakin' on it. Think I'm in Love. That's a great one. But all the deep cuts on here are good too. It's just a really good album from Eddie Money. Never get tired of him. And all these albums sound great. They have great production on them. Okay, at number 91, I've got, this isn't the debut, Jeff Witcher, but this is the self-titled Genesis record, and I love this record. It starts with Mama, and it's got That's All on here, Taking It All Too Hard, Just a Job to Do, Illegal Alien. What a great album. I love this. I love this era of Genesis, actually. Really good one here. At number 90, I've got The Distance from Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. I love Bob Seger, and this is so good. Even Now, what a great way to start. Just a great album here. Shame on the Moon, one of my very favorite Bob Seger songs. I love that one so much. But this is solid. It's not as good as a couple of his others, but it's good enough to make this list because it's really good. House Behind a House, that's a great song too. Awesome record from Bob Seger. At number 89, I've got the Little River Band with Time Exposure. This is a really solid record, and it's got 3 of my very favorite songs by them right to start off, which are The Night Owls. That's a great song. Man on Your Mind is one of my top 2 or 3 Little River Band songs, and Take It Easy on Me, which is a big hit. But there's what is it? Just Say That You Love Me on side 2. That might be one of my very favorites on here too. That's an awesome song. Suicide Boulevard. Great album all the way through. Really good harmonizers and a great band there. I love them. Okay, at number 88, I've got Eurythmics with Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. This is pretty groundbreaking when it came out. Annie Lennox's vocals on it are awesome. Of course, it's got the huge hit. I really like the version of Wrap It Up on here, which was covered by another band that might be coming up on a later episode. That's a really good song. But this is just such a good album. Love it all the way through. It's very unique at that time. Really good album there. Okay, at number 87, and this would have been higher, but there's a reason it isn't. And this is, Double Fantasy with John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Now, if this is a purely John Lennon record, this would be in my top 20. But the Yoko Ono songs kind of bring it down for me. But the John Lennon songs are so strong, you know, just like Starting Over, so good. Watching the Wheels, one of my favorite songs of his solo. I love that one. Woman is on here. This is a great album. But it's half him, half Yoko songs. That's why it's so low on this list. Even though it's just making the list is good. Because, like I said, there's 100 records that were all really good that didn't make it that I have. Up next at number 86, I got El Loco from ZZ Top. Not my favorite ZZ Top, but it's got some of my favorite songs they do. Pearl Necklace is on here. Tube Snake Boogie. I love that song. 10-Foot Pole. Of course, you got Billy Gibbons' humor in there. It's so good. Party on the Patio is really different for them. It's very synth-oriented, but pretty cool song. I Want to Drive You Home. Really good record from them. This is El Loco. And at number 85, I've got Crimes of Passion from Pat Benatar. Love Pat Benatar. Her debut is my favorite, but that was in the 70s. But this has got Treat Me Right on it. That's such a good song. You Better Run. Hit Me With Your Best Shot, of course, is on here. Yeah, this is a good album. Her band was really rocking too. I love those albums by her. Okay, at number 84, I've got another one from the Pretenders, Learning to Crawl. And this album was huge. This is right during MTV, and Back on the Chain Gang was all over it. It's also got Middle of the Road, which is a great song. Time the Avengers, a really good song too. My favorite song on here, though, is My City Was Gone. That is so good. It's a song on the second side, and it's just an awesome song. It has a great bass line. So check out that song if you don't know it. My City Was Gone from Learning to Crawl. Great song. Number 83, I've got Built for Speed from the Stray Cats. I was obsessed with this record when it came out. I just love Stray Cat Struts so much. I was really into that when I was young. Rock This Town, of course, on here. Rev It Up and Go is a great song. Rumble in Brighton. This is a great, great album here. My favorite album by them. The second side's really good too, but that first side on here is just excellent. Okay, at number 82, I've got Building the Perfect Beast from Don Henley. Now, my favorite Don Henley song from the 80s was Dirty Laundry, but I don't think the album that was on is as strong as this one. This one's got The Boys of Summer. Let's see, Not Enough Love in the World. That's an all right song. Building the Perfect Beast. All She Wants to Do Is Dance. Sunset Grill reminds me of an Eagles song. I love that one. Really solid record. Probably the best solo album he did all the way through. Although if Dirty Laundry was on this, it'd be even better. I love that song. Okay, at number 81, I've got, this is a great album, and this could have been on my hard and heavy list, which I also did a list to count down my hard rock heavy metal ones, but this is Cultosaurus Erectus from Blue Oyster Cult. Very underrated album by them. I love this album. Black Blade is so good. That's one of my favorite Blue Oyster Cult songs. Monsters is awesome. Lips in the Hills is one of my favorites on here. This is a very underrated and solid record. Love that album. And number 80, I've got The Game from Queen. Really good record here. I mean, this is all over the place musically, and I just love it. Play the Game, such a good song. Another One Bites the Dust, of course. Great song. A little crazy little thing called Love. But stuff like Dragon Attack and, Rocket Prime. This is a great album. I love Dragon Attack. That's my favorite on here. But great album from Queen. And number 79. And this album here, I didn't like it all back in the 80s, but I've grown to appreciate it. And now I think it's a masterpiece. This is Violent Femmes. Love this song. Of course, Blister in the Sun was the most recognizable song. But I really like the song Kiss Off and Add It Up. Those are my two favorites on here. I love those. To the Kill is cool. Prove My Love. Really an album that's grown on me over the years. My friends used to play it all the time back in the 80s, and I didn't like it. But now I absolutely love this album. Really good stuff there. At number 78, I've got Making Movies from Dire Straits. Really underrated album by them. Romeo and Juliet is so good. This whole album is a killer. I love this. It's another one that really grew on me over the years. And all the songs now I really love on this. Making Movies at number 78. Number 77, I've got Stevie Nicks with Belladonna. But I think this is easily her best solo album. I think it's the best solo album any of the Fleetwood Mac people have put out. It's just really good. Of course, it's got Edge of 17 on here, which is awesome. Leather and Lace with Don Henley. That's a great song. This is a really good album. Stop Dragging My Heart Around. Love that one too. Really good album there. And at number 76, this album here, I absolutely love. It's not my favorite by them, but this is the one I own. So this is Dead Man's Party from Oingo Boingo. And of course, I had the two songs that were made popular from the movies in the 80s. Weird Science, of course, that they used in that movie, and the song Dead Man's Party, which was used in Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. And they actually played it in that movie. That's a great song. Just Another Day, the starting song is awesome. Stay might be my favorite on here. That's what starts off side 2. Solid album all the way through. This is such an underrated band. Oingo Boingo at number 76. So I've got 76, Oingo Boingo. 77, Belladonna from Stevie Nicks. 78, Making Movies from Dire Straits. 79, Violent Femmes. At number 80, I've got The Game from Queen. At number 81, Cultosaurus Erectus from Blue Oyster Cult. At 82, I've got Building the Perfect Beast from Don Henley. At 83, Built for Speed from Stray Cats. 84, Learning to Crawl from The Pretenders. 85, Pat Benatar with Crimes of Passion. I remember that one. At 86, I've got El Loco from ZZ Top. 87, Double Fantasy, John Lennon, Yoko Ono. 88, Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. 89, Time Exposure from the Little River Band. At number 90, I've got The Distance from Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. At 91, self-titled Genesis. 92, No Control from Eddie Money. 93, The Debut from Duran Duran. 94, 404. 95, American Fool from John Cougar. 96, Beauty and the Beat from the Go-Go's. At 97, I've got the debut from Asia. At 98, New Traditionalist from Devo. 99, Lap of Luxury from Cheap Trick. And at number 100, Pretenders 2. So there we go. That's my first section of this. I'll be doing 25 a piece. And then I'll be on to 51 through 75 next. And all right, everyone, have a great day. I will see you next time.